Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Take Three podcast. My name is Alex, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host Brandon. In this episode, we're going to break down Game 2 of the NBA Finals between the Bucks and the Suns. It was another Suns W in Phoenix with a 118-108 win. I'm just going to go ahead and toss it over to Brandon right off the bat. What were your initial thoughts watching this game, and how much trouble are the Bucks really in?
The Bucks are, just to answer that off the rip, the Bucks are in a hell of a lot of trouble. Obviously going down 2-0. I know people say blah, blah, blah. The series never starts until the home team loses a game or something. Like, we're not going to go with that shit. Like, they're in real trouble. Giannis was outstanding considering whatever knee injury he seemed to be bothered by it when he went down a couple times in the game, went to the bench. But, I liked the Bucks early. The Bucks defense, they definitely, Coach Bud for once in his lifetime made some type of adjustment. They were playing a lot more aggressively on defense early and kind of forcing the Suns' hand. And it really but it never felt like this was going to work, right? It felt like this is going to slow down the Suns for a period of time. And it just felt like the Suns were missing shots. They were missing a lot of shots. I think Devin Booker started 1 of 6, 1 of 7. And then DeAndre Ayton didn't give him much tonight. So just they slowed him down. I like the adjustment. But, when you look at it at the end of the day, when you have Giannis who does his thing and gives you 42 and 12, and then you got two Team USA Olympians that are alongside of him that shoot a combined 32%, it's like you kind of need more, right? They brought these guys in. Middleton's maxed out, and they went out and got Drew Holiday for runs like this, for series like this. And they didn't show up. That's point blank. Pat Connaughton. If Pat Connaughton's your second guy in the NBA Finals, you're in a hell of a lot of trouble is all I'll say.
Yeah, I agree completely. The Bucks came out pretty good defensively, and clearly one of the adjustments was to have Drew Holiday be much more aggressive offensively, but it doesn't really work if you shoot 7 of 21, right? And then you get Chris Middleton shooting 5 of 16. And, the Bucks came out really aggressive defensively, and then the Suns were just missing shots, but they just feel like a team of destiny. When they get bailed out by, I think it's 8 first-quarter threes, you got Cameron Payne making one, and then Mikal Bridges is going off and Jay Crowder. So basically you're not getting much offense from Ayton, Booker, and Paul, your 3 big guys, but yet you still take a lead within that first quarter, and the Bucks are playing well. It kind of figures like the Bucks are just outclassed. They're just not good enough as a team. You get 42 from Giannis, and they still lose by 10. That's a big margin in an NBA Finals game. 10 points is a lot.
Yeah, it was it was just, it was kind of, I wouldn't say, it was kind of closer. At one point it was down to 6 down the stretch. So it was closer. It was kind of what I expected, right? The whistle tightened up. I don't think the Suns were struggling to get to the line all night, if I'm not mistaken. I think, they only shot 14 free throws. The Bucks had 23. So you kind of saw that whistle margin that a lot of people had took issue with in game 1. They kind of brought that disparity closer. And Giannis was able to get to the line quite a bit. But, this thing kind of it hinges on, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday are going to have to show up Sunday night when they go back to Milwaukee. That's just point blank, or we might not come back to the desert because, I think obviously Game 3 is a must-win if you go down 3. But it's in danger if Game 3 is a must-win because I think if they lose Game 3, they're not even going to win a game at home. Like I said Suns in 5 in the first one of these after game 1 or prior to game 1. But it's in danger where I think if they were to lose game 3 and these guys don't get it together in game 3 where it doesn't even go back to the desert. And, Giannis has got to be going back to the locker room tonight looking at those guys and say, come on. You guys are – especially Middleton, a guy that he arguably stayed in Milwaukee to be with, right? That's been his guy. He gave him praise through the Atlanta series when he was showing up, dumping in 23 in the third quarter and just doing his thing. So, it's time. It's weird that just a weird spot. Giannis played so well considering coming off a hyperextended knee. And I don't like to even use this phrase of not get any help, but he was kind of he didn't really get any help alongside him.
No, it just seemed like the Bucks as a team didn't really play well. Like Giannis was super aggressive. He had a historic third quarter scoring 20 points, and it just wasn't really enough. Middleton and Holiday aren't really getting it done. And then I don't think Budenholzer's doing a good job coaching this series. He pulled He took Drew Holiday out of the game with 4 minutes left in the second quarter when like the game's like really in pivot at that point because they got outscored 30-16 in the second quarter. So those were like really important minutes. Drew picked up his second foul, not his third, and he pulled him for like 2 minutes, which I don't know. I thought that was a silly decision. Like if you got this far with these guys, you need to trust Drew Holiday, who's a veteran, one of the best defenders, maybe your best defender. You need to trust him that he's going to play smart and not pick up a third foul. That seems like poor coaching to me. And then their best, I still think their best lineup is Giannis at the 5. So Giannis, PJ Tucker, Middleton, Connaughton, and Drew. And he didn't bring out that lineup until like 3 minutes left in the second half. And then he didn't bring it out in the first half. Or 3 minutes left in the first half, and then he didn't bring out in the second half till like towards the end. It seems like he didn't put that lineup on the floor till the Suns already built like a 5 to 10 point lead.
Yeah, I mean, that's Coach Bud being Coach Bud. I can honestly sit here and think that he maybe they've never really planned to use that lineup. I mean, it should have been a plan. It should have been in the cards, but that's the only thing I can think about is how many reps have they got with that lineup. But yeah, I mean, that's an obvious, especially when Connaughton's shooting like that. Although I did like Brook Lopez's defense. He was kind of more active in being able to defend those pick and rolls better, but it was also help when Drew Holiday's going to fight through screens and not leave him out to dry. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like they just don't have the artillery. It feels so weird. I mean, when Bridges can toss in 27, Devin Booker, he went nuclear throughout the stretch, firing in threes. And then, I mean, although Cam Johnson and Cameron Payne didn't give him a ton, it's like those guys can get you buckets at some point when you need them in a game down the stretch of a series, even if it didn't happen tonight. It just feels like they don't have enough, and they definitely don't have enough coaching.
Yeah, the coaching disparity is huge, and they just don't have enough offense. They miss DiVincenzo, but I don't think he's like that big of a difference to where the result is any different. Cam Johnson found a way to shoot 50% again. I know it's on a small clip, but he seems to do that every game. Last game it was 3 of 6. This game is 2 of 4. I'm just always impressed with him off the bench. But yeah, for the Suns, like they're just more talented. They're just a better team overall, which is kind of weird to say. Like heading into the season and maybe even during the playoffs, like I think if you were to ask somebody who would they take, Giannis, Middleton, and Holiday, or Booker, Ayton, and Paul, I think majority of the people would have said Giannis and the crew. But like, and it's more than just those three. The Suns are playing better as a team, but they're getting outplayed like almost in every facet with the exception of Giannis. And then they didn't even get a good offensive output from DeAndre Ayton, but he's still out there making a difference, 11 rebounds, getting some steals, getting some blocks. The defense has just been really impressive. And I really don't know how the Bucks make any adjustments at this point. Giannis at the 5 more. I think their best hope is just that Middleton and Holiday shoot the ball better. Do you see any adjustments the Bucks could possibly make heading home?
No, I mean, I don't think there is no adjustment. I mean, I think they made the adjustments that they made on defense tonight were the adjustments it comes down to. Them two guys, they have to shoot at a better clip. And we know they can shoot at a better clip. We know what Chris Middleton can do. He gets slandered a lot. But, I mean, he can put it together. He's actually, through this playoff run, done quite a bit so I won't slander his name too bad, although he hasn't showed up the past 2 nights. But, yeah, we know what them guys can do. I mean, they're on Team USA. They're part of Team USA. And going back to Milwaukee Sunday night, they're going to have to come out and show why they were part of that team and why Giannis stayed in Milwaukee and locked himself in there to be part of that crew for the next 4 or 5 years.
Agreed. And this is kind of like getting swept is going to be really demoralizing, I feel like. Yeah, you come back, you learn from it, you grow as a team, but like this roster is kind of maxed out like salary cap wise. You mentioned it earlier with Giannis getting the super max and they extend Middleton, they gave Holiday a big contract. So it's like you don't really have a lot of room to like a lot of cap space and room to like flush this roster out unless you were to get rid of like Middleton or Holiday. But like I don't think you get a better player in return. I'd be very surprised. So let's assume the Bucks get swept, I don't really know where they go, like offseason wise, to get better. The Nets come back healthy, the Sixers retool. So it's like the Bucks really have to take advantage of this, and we'll see what they're really made of. To credit the Bucks, they were down. They blew game 1 against Atlanta. Then they blew the first game out with no Trae Young. They gave it up to just the Hawks bench players. And then they were down 0-2 against the Nets, but the Nets had injuries. So without barring any injuries, like they have shown that they're a resilient team, but I just don't see how the Bucks bounce back, and I don't see how they get back to this finals position in the future. Like this is a really big opportunity for them, and it's just kind of going down in flames.
Yep. I mean, yeah, just my final look. I guess if you're a Bucks guy, you just say the thing I led this off with. The series doesn't start till a team loses at home. That's about the only thing I hear that so much. But yeah, I mean, they don't really have nothing to do. I don't think you can even if they get swept, losing 5 games, you can say yeah, we were one Dante DiVincenzo away from winning a world championship, right? So it's like they're in a weird spot. But I mean, it's going to be interesting to see game 3. As I always say, I've said it on here before. The role guys and the guys tend to come out a little bit fired up when they're at home, and the other guys, the road team shows up flat sometimes. So, I mean, there's more basketball to be played, right? The Suns still have to win 2 more ball games because the Bucks aren't just going to give it to them. But we'll see, man. We'll see Sunday night.
Yeah, who do you have winning game 3? I think the Bucks come out and defend home court and finally get a win, but I think games 3 and 4 are must wins. Otherwise, it's over in 5. And I believe Phoenix takes one of the Milwaukee games, if not both. But if I were to pick Milwaukee to win a game, it'd be next game.
Yeah, I think backs against the wall going back down 2-0 game 3. Yeah, I would if I had to sit here right now, I'd say yeah, game 3. Giannis does his thing. Middleton and Holiday contribute how they should, and I think they'll take game 3 if they were going to take a game.
Yeah, it looks like all signs are pointing towards the Phoenix Suns being getting their first NBA championship, and good for them. And Chris Paul being in year 16, I'm happy for Chris Paul watching him with the Rockets, and then it was the Clippers, just getting close and with on really great teams, never really getting it done. So I am happy for him. And this was like an interesting year for those old Clipper teams, those Chris Paul Clipper teams, because we saw the Doc Rivers Sixers not work out. We saw Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan on the Nets not work out. And then it's kind of crazy that it's going to work out for Chris Paul if things keep going this way. I got a quick question for you. If the Suns win the championship, which we're assuming they are, who do you think is the MVP, Paul or Booker?
Oh man, it's like weird. I think that's a hell of a tough one. It's like I feel like they give it to CP. I feel like CP3 would be favored just because of like this is probably it, right? That's probably the only time he's going to make the NBA Finals. But I think if I was sitting here right now, I'd probably give it to Devin Booker by like a slight notch, just because of what he did tonight. Like what he did tonight, kind of through 2 games, kind of really pushed it forward. Although what CP3 did in game 1 was amazing, but I believe Booker did his thing in game 1 too. I think through 2 games tonight, with Booker hitting those contested threes and really coming on down the stretch, I'd give him like a slight edge as of right now if I had like a Finals MVP vote.
Yeah, I think I would give the slight edge to Booker. I think it's going to flip-flop between their W's, whoever has like slightly bigger games, to be honest. But it's like the voters that vote, I wonder if they're just going to feel like sentimental for Chris Paul. He finally gets in. They just kind of give it to him, or they're going to crown Devin Booker as the superstar he is. I mean, the finals feels like we had a 13-point win margin and a 10-point win margin. It feels so lopsided that we're debating finals MVPs instead of outcomes, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's just how it is. Do you have any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I mean we just got to sit back. We got to see what Bucks role guys show up game 3 on Sunday night. I mean it should be interesting to watch what they can do as they return home in front of that crowd. I'm assuming that crowd will be going nuts because I mean that's the good thing about this series, right? We have 2 crowds that are starving for like a championship, and you feel that intensity in both. You at least felt it in Phoenix, and I assume the same will happen when we go to Milwaukee. But now that's it for me, man. I'm ready for Sunday night, ready to see what we're going to come back with.
Agreed. The fans are ready, and hopefully Milwaukee can defend home court so we can get a better final series and gets a little more interesting. But I think that's it for us on today's show. That's going to do it. Thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you all next episode.